So unfortunately, we had a cancellation today. So I'm joined by, I'm going to remember their names because I wrote them down. Rengoku. Spoilers. How'd you kill this guy in the first season? It was the first season, right? I mean, why? That's just so messed up, man. He was so good. The way he used to eat all those lunch boxes. All right. Then we have Zenitsu. He's the second guest joining us today. Kim, do you know this guy?
No.
Anyway, you need to watch it because... Oh, Vish, you need to get me a quote, by the way. That looks like this. And one for Tanjiro. Bad motherfucker. Then we have the trio. We've got Tanjiro-sa and then Inosuke. Let's go. Seriously, waste of a character. All they did was give a big tits and a horn. I've not seen past season 4, so don't judge me. Welcome to a brand new episode of Coffee Pump Podcast. Today, we're doing something different. We are delving into a completely new segment called Cheat Codes. Now, Cheat Codes is, if you reflect back in your earlier days, do you remember playing San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto?
Yes.
Imagine playing that, all right? Put yourself in that position. You're holding that controller. They're cops. It's 5 levels. Fucking missiles are raining from the sky. Your mom shouting at you to turn the PlayStation off. Your sister's chewing your ass because she wants to watch TV. Your younger brother is wondering why his controller's not working. And all of a sudden you do R1, R2, L1, R2, left, right, up, down, XO. And everything disappears. The 5 star-wanted levels go. The cops go. And that's what this episode is about. Cheat codes. Tips, tricks, anything that will help make your life easier. That's what we're going to talk about. We've got a whole segment of stuff to cover. I usually had a guest to plan, but then Iqbal and DK were too busy for me. So we have these anime characters joining us. By the way, I would highly encourage you to watch Demon Slayer. For those of you that say anime is for kids, take a big step back and literally go and yourself. All right? Anime is mature adult content. I guarantee you, if you watch Demon Slayer, you will be hooked from season 1. There's another one that I haven't been told to watch that's also called... What's it called? Kim, the popular one. Demon Slayer. Is it Demon Slayer? That's the one I just said. No, Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is something I'm going to start off. Anyway, we're off on a tangent. So, again, Cheat Codes is basically about tips, tricks that we will normally have a round table with different guests that make our life easier. They're basically cheat codes to enabling you to living life to the fullest potential. It can be apps, it can be how to make the perfect sandwich, it can be how to talk to a girl, it can be anything, all right? But now I'm stuck with these anime because everyone cancelled on me. Let's start with SpaceX. So here in Kenya, we've been told that SpaceX is coming, and I've heard a bunch of folks actually complain that SpaceX is quite slow. Here's a cheat code for you. It's not actually slow, it's the technology behind it that hasn't been established yet. Get SpaceX, especially if you stay in quite remote areas. Now, I understand a lot of people watching this in Nairobi or anywhere in Kenya and East Africa are saying that the latency is quite high. Let me explain to you how the technology on the back end works. And again, if I'm wrong, you don't shit on me. So maybe to circle back, the way the technology works is you've got your SpaceX kit that you buy and you set up at home. That then beams your internet data to a low orbit satellite that's sitting somewhere above in the sky zone, which then receives the data and then sends it to the closest data center in proximity, all right? Now that happens to be somewhere outside of Europe or possibly North Africa or the Middle East. And then basically interchanges and peers at the exchanges, gets whatever data you're looking for and then brings it back to you. Hence the latency is so high. What SpaceX is planning on doing is installing ground stations and basically installations in country, and hopefully they do it before the end of the year. Then I guarantee you that purchase that you make will pay dividends. So cheat code for faster internet in Kenya, especially when the government gets involved and tethers stuff. You remember during Mandamano, everyone was down. Were you down as well? Of course, yeah. We're all Kenyan, we suffer together. So be patient with SpaceX. I think it's a worthy investment. It's a bit expensive. However, there are companies that are offering it on a per monthly basis. So you don't have to cough up the hefty investment straight up. We'll link all those companies in the description. What do you think of that as a cheat code? Good cheat code?
That's good. Just it can help people.
Zenitsu, what do you think? Arigato-sama. I agree, Nazutsu. He likes it. Gaming is another tip, all right? For those of us that have always played video games, I'd say there are two sides of the field. There are people that are okay with chipping their PlayStations and playing games that are fake, if you know what that means. It's a big concept all over the world, right? Where games are so expensive, so what people end up doing is they get a chip put in so they can buy games at a cheaper rate and play them. That's good, but for me it feels as though I'm taking this beautiful PlayStation and getting some 12-inch shoved right in to my PlayStation and spoiling her purity. And ever since I was a kid, I was always forced to buy original games. And that meant if you're in Kenya, you're spending so much more money. I used to go to these motherfuckers called Toy World. Do you guys remember that? Of course, if you're in Nairobi, everyone remembers that. Do you remember that? Osa. Yeah, he does remember that. Because those would charge you 18,000 bob per game. On PlayStation 2, 18,000 bob per game. This was like 2004. And mjingas like me would go and buy it. Right? Because I don't want the purity of my PlayStation destroyed, so I'd go and spend that amount of money. Now, if you look at the States and if you look at the PlayStation store, most games are $60, which even when you convert to Kenya shillings does not equate to 18 fucking thousand bob. Seriously, Toy, well, how do you guys get away with charging these pricing? Stepping away from that, there's a website called G2A, right? Now, what G2A does is it gives you access to coupons for the PlayStation store. Now, when you set up your PlayStation account, always make sure to set it up to a first world country. Because if you put Africa, you're going to get jack shit and 16% VAT. Agreed?
Yes.
So what we do is we put it to the American store, which by the way, I think is personally the best, or you put it to the UK store. And the reason I recommend the US store is because the dollar is basically a cheaper conversion compared to pounds and euros. And they have better offer and sales. Now, when you go to G2A, again, we'll link everything in the description. You just buy the PlayStation Network top-up for US, charge it over there, top up your account on the PlayStation Network, and then you use the Safaricom app, which now gives you Global Pay as a digital card to then go and purchase on the G2A platform. So you're basically topping up. So you don't need a credit card, actually. You don't need access to a bank, which, again, in Nairobi, in Kenya, a lot of people still don't have those digital... It's weird, by the way. People don't have bank cards, but people have PS5s. Like, how does that work? Yani, what are you guys doing? Germany, I go to your house, like it's in the middle of nowhere, bro. Guy has no lights, I on a PS5. He has no bank account like I on a PS5. He's got a 45-inch LCD TV. I don't get I don't get that. Anyway, for you guys, G2A is the best thing. So you buy the top-up coupons, you load it up on the PlayStation Store. If you don't have a bank account, another cheat code is you go on the Safaricom app, you use the Global Pay, you top up your M-Pesa, $60 comes to about 7-8K. I think, yeah, that's depending on the conversion. Yeah, so 7K, thereabouts. You top up your PlayStation account, and now you can buy games. The thing is, when you buy digital games as well, you can download it before they launch, and you play on the release window. The problem with physical games, especially when coming to Kenya, there's a couple of weeks delay. Sometimes a game can launch on Saturday, and you don't get it till the following week. By that time, you have these guys who are streaming the whole game, and you're wondering why Kratos as a spoiler. We don't want that shit. We want to stay away from it, right? So that's a tip. Use G2A, again, to buy cheaper games. In addition to that, the PlayStation stores constantly have sales, man. Which, again, a lot of these physical vendors, both in Kenya and abroad, don't often usually have them. Right? So you can have a special promotion where a brand new game 2-3 months in is being sold at half the cost. Right? For like $30. $30. And then you just need a decent internet connection through SpaceX and the game is in with you. So I'd say that's a cheat code. I know a lot of people play pirated games. Guys, just think about it as someone taking your beautiful baby. Let's not even go down that thought process. We're going to get cancelled. You know? But don't do that. Don't pirate your PlayStation 5, man. Come on. Moving on. All right. Let's talk about fitness. Now, I am recovering from surgery. And one of the few things I've now taken into account is, as I'm getting to the back end of the recovery, is getting into the gym, right? And it's been a bit of a challenge because when your body is lethargic, you've stayed off for about 8 weeks from the gym, it's hard to move. Everything's very rigid. Everything's very solid. I needed to find a way to sort of get my ass out of the chair, right? Get myself in that mental prep zone. And what ended up happening for a very long time is I would try and find motivation. And the problem with motivation is up, it's down. It's round, it's round. It's gone, it's told you fuck off and leaves you. Right? Like our exes. Anyway, so how do I find motivation, right? Even how do I get the motivation to get up and go and do the things that I'm meant to do? When, despite of everything, you're just feeling completely lethargic, you're completely weak, you're mentally drained. What do? There's a method called the 1, 2, 3 method. Have you heard of it?
No.
Yeah, imagine this. You're sitting on the sofa, all right? You're playing video games, and you're thinking to yourself, I should get to the gym, all right?
Yeah.
What you simply do is you take a deep breath, and you say 1, 2, 3. And at the count of 3, you just get up and go and do the thing you're supposed to do. Like a race, 1, 2, 3, go. You don't give yourself time to think, right? You want to play the guitar that's sitting in the corner of the room. 1, 2, 3. You pick it up and go. Play the guitar. Don't give yourself the opportunity to doubt your capabilities. All right, and it's really helped me. You get up in the morning. You need to go to the gym. You don't have the energy, and you can't muster up the energy. Don't think about it. 1, 2, 3, go. It takes a lot of effort initially. Obviously, some of these things, we're human. We're bound to experience some sort of dip in energy and motivation at times, and just trying to get in the rhythm of things. Not everyone is Rambo type character. They can just muster up energy and go. So build discipline. Start with the smaller things, all right? Increase the velocity and capacity of the things that you want to start doing. Playing guitar, reading a book, going to the gym, talking to that girl. If she rejects you, 1, 2, 3, let's go to the next bitch. Agreed? That's what we do. So the 1, 2, 3 method, I highly recommend that. It has worked. Not against women. That hasn't worked out pretty much well, so just ignore that part. But for the rest of the things, it helps. All right? What do you think of that as a cheat code?
1, 2, 3, let's go.
That's it. All right. So you've rated it 9 out of 10. Perfect. Moving on to another tip. Now, this is quite familiar with a lot of people, but when it comes to weight loss, one of the biggest things I found I was struggling with was consistency. All right? And in addition to the 1, 2, 3 method, I found that I would have bouts of these periods where I would lose a lot of weight and then I would stall. I'd lose a lot of weight and then I'd stall. And I couldn't guess why. And so what ended up happening was I had to hire a coach who sat down and tried to understand where I was coming from. Meaning, how much food was I eating? Right? How much I was working out. And to be honest, I had no clue because I was not tracking things down. And that's maybe the one thing I want to point out as a cheat code. Use a food tracking app. Even if you're not going to do it 100%, it will help you understand how your body works, because fat loss is simply an equation of energy in versus energy out. How much you're eating versus how much you're working out. Now, if you don't know how much you're working out, if you don't know how much you're putting in, how much should you know to exert on the back end, right? Because you have to create a deficit. Either you eat less and do more, or do less and eat less, if that makes sense. So with MyFitnessPal, what that allows you to do is simply track and measure each and every morsel you put in. It's a bit cumbersome initially. However, as you get through the rhythm of things, it becomes second nature to you. All right. And at the end of it, when I did that initially, I was able to gauge that I was eating about 2,600 calories a day, which is quite a lot for someone my size. And in order for me to lose a pound of weight, I had to create a deficit of 3,500 calories. Now, spread over 7 days, I can lose 500 calories a day, either by doing 500 calories on the cardio side, or I could reduce my food intake and then work out more. So it's a balance, but I knew where I was. So I highly recommend those who are struggling to lose fat, especially if every time you attempt it, you lose 2-3 kilos and then you stall. And that demotivates you, so you become a fat fuck and you go like I did and you basically spend 80,000 bob on Uber Eats in a month, which is something I regret. But anyway, that's a side note. MyFitnessPal, do that. Track the food, see the consumption you're putting in, understand where you are in order to see where you're going. What do you think of that?
That will work perfectly for us, man.
Are we clapping or no? Not yet. Sawa. On the notion of fitness and food tracking. So if you're not in a position to hire a coach who can guide you to let you know how much food you need to take, the portion sizes and so on and so forth, the macros, which macros basically means the protein, fat, and carb split, hiring a coach can be very expensive. It can be anywhere between 20,000 bob a month to 40,000 bob a month, depending on who you're fucking talking to. There's an app that I discovered called Avatar Nutrition. All right? What Avatar does is it takes into account all your parameters, your height, your activity level. What I mean by activity level is, do you sit at a desk job all day? Are you basically doing less than 3,000 steps a day? How many times do you work out a week? Right? How much sleep are you getting? It takes into account your physical attributes as well. How tall are you? How much muscle do you have? Do you have a lot of fat? And it plays around with some parameters and then it gives you a set number, all right? And it tells you this is the protein to hit every day. This is the fat to hit every day. This is the carbs to hit every day. And it assumes some certain parameters because it's asking you to be honest with it, all right? It's asking you to let it know whether you're working out 3 times a week, whether you're working out 5 times a week, whether you're active or not. It gives you a set number and tells you this is how much you should eat every day and this is the weight you lose. And every time you basically track the food, it auto-updates, right? So let's say at the end of the week, if you lost 2 pounds over 1 pound, it will auto-adjust and say, okay, fine, do we want to continue going more aggressive? And aggressive fat loss means it's more than 2 pounds a week? Or do we want to go less and keep it a bit more subtle, carry it for the longer term, go like 1 pound, 1.5 pounds? It adjusts and plays with it like an actual course, and it's like $5 to $10 a month. Now, the original founders of Avatar Nutrition, Dr. Lane Norton, I will link his description, go and watch all his videos. He is super knowledgeable when it comes to the if it fits your macros principles and diet philosophies in general. I would suggest following him. He then went on to create his own app called Carbon, which is quite similar to Avatar Nutrition. I think they split up and they basically did the same thing. So pick and choose whatever you want, but ultimately, if you can't afford a coach and you need guidance on if it fits your macros and how to track your nutrition, best nutrition apps you can get. $10 a month, bro. What's that? That's like 1,300 bob, right?
Yeah.
Homeboys go, they spend on 2 balozis, 3 balozis, that's gone one day, you know. I mean, you can afford this stuff. It's not too much to ask, right? That will help you get discipline, and you also physically committing your funds towards something. So it'll keep you in track because you know you're spending money, right? Because you're not a worthless piece of shit, are you? You're giving someone your money and you're just doing nothing with it. These are for those guys who live in Kileleshwa and Rafter Road and Muthaiga sites. If you can afford it. The other option to Avatar Nutrition is getting personalized coaching. That's a cheat code. It doesn't have to be for very long, to be honest. And by the way, all these tips I normally have, we're supposed to have someone criticizing the cheat codes. Right now, it's just Kim agreeing with me at the back of it. But in future episodes, we'll have folks talking about their cheat codes in life, right? Revamp Fitness is a company that I've worked with, and they basically do what Avatar Nutrition does, but with a more personalized approach. They're based in Kenya, but they have international clients as well. They do what the app does. However, they take into account your nutrition needs, your training needs, your mental needs, and give you a sort of holistic solution in order to achieve your physique goals. And it's better than the app in the sense that you have WhatsApp access to the coaches as well. So that's the second level I would go to if you're seriously considering transforming your physique, is invest in a coach. It doesn't have to be a long-term thing, all right? People will be like, oh, but it's like so expensive. I mean, invest in yourself, personalized coaching. And it depends on who, again. We're not talking about these homeboys, aerobic trainers who want to bang chuti mums. No, we don't want that. We're talking about serious guys who are qualified, who ask you to do your blood panels as well. So do consider that. I will link Revamp Fitness's link in the description. Reach out to Claire, ladies, or Lee, gents. Best coaches in Kenya, hands down. Kim, have you ever been injured?
Yes.
You have?
Yes, I have.
What are the injuries you've had?
Sauce.
Oh yeah, sauce. Do you know what sauce is, guys? Sauce is sausage finger. When someone passes to you a basketball, you don't stretch your hands out like this, you do that and it hits you. Then your finger swells up.
Some sprains while doing my gymnastics.
Oh yes. Because what's the gymnastics you do called?
Tricking.
Okay, so this is Kim tricking right now. Can you see him? How amazing is this? Look at him tricking. Wow, Kim, you trick so nicely. All right. When you got injured and you went to a physiotherapist, was it expensive?
Should be.
You're spending maybe per session 5K, 6K, 7K. That's expensive, guys. We are not all fucking Andrew Tate. All right? We may pretend to be, but we're not. We can't afford that stuff. I have knee issues. I have lower back issues. I have chest injury. I've got all this stuff to deal with. Those sessions of the physiotherapy, per session is 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10,000 bob. It just goes on and on and on. There's an app, all right, called Knees Over Toes. So if you search for Knees Over Toe, guys, look at his videos. It initially started with how to strengthen your knees for those people who are having issues, simply by doing prehab and mobility work, all right? Nothing about surgery. And he had such an extensive program that I started following on YouTube, and I found within 2 workouts, my knee pain reduced significantly, right? I used to get this pinch whenever I'd do a lunge. It's like a sharp pinch and my legs would stop firing and just give up halfway in between the motion. And he had some exercises that he gave for free, tibialis raises, exercises such as these, right? To sort of strengthen the ligaments around the knee and approach it in a way that you require minimal equipment. So I was like, okay, well, he's giving this free information. Let me go and see what it's about. So he has an app which is $50 a month. All right, $50 a month is maybe 7,000 bob, 7,000 Kenya shillings. Compare that to having 4 or 5 physiotherapy sessions. All right, that's 7,000 bob you're spending, and you get access to his whole plethora of programs, which involves knee mobilities, chest, full body programs, whatever. And they're super responsive. I had an exercise I couldn't do. They replied instantly, try this one, send in your form, and they corrected. They're on top of their game. So as an alternative to actually going to a physiotherapist, which again is not a bad thing, but just for the sake of convenience and affordability, I would recommend checking it. And his training and methodologies and approaches to strengthening your ligaments is phenomenal. He is a tier 1 class. I'd say he's in the hyper regions of medical professionals. To be honest, I was completely impressed with just the minimal work that I did. It does require dedication on your part, because with the physiotherapy, yes, he's moving you, he's stretching you out, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing a lot of the work for you. You have to do a lot of this work yourself. You can send them your injury profile and explain to them what's going wrong, and they can advise you, and then based on that, they'll give you a proper program. So Knees Over Toes. Again, everything will be linked in the description. All right. Now, this one, a lot of folks have talked about it, and obviously every other video talks about intermittent fasting, but I am going to simply back that fact up that intermittent fasting works. However, how to go about it is a very unique way. So Elon Musk tweeted and this was a while back, that he uses an app called Zero. And I tried it. So it's free to use, however, there are some paid features. And it gives you options on how to start fasting. You can do a 12 to, what was it? A 16 to 8, a 12 to 12 fast, and gives you different options. It checks in on you, checks your parameters, and it helps you stay on track, right? It guides you on how to open your fast as well. And for someone like me whose blood glucose levels were quite high, I think when I started initially, I was at about 6.4 mmol and managed to get it down to about 4.8, 4.4 simply by intermittent fasting. And the more you're able to manage your insulin sensitivity, the better it is with fat loss. So I would highly encourage you to check out Zero, especially if you're trying to pursue the path of intermittent fasting and don't know how to go about it. The other option for fitness, again, this is more fitness right now. These are my cheat codes. As we progress on, we'll talk about money. We'll get experts to talk about different verticals, right? Subject matter experts. Or I'll just get my douchebag friends to talk about what they find helps them. Another way that I found can help in losing weight is simply tracking your steps. Now, there's a particular app within our office that we started using, and I thought this was such a genius way to get people to track their steps. It's called Step Up. Again, I will link it in the description. You basically add all your colleagues, all right? And everyone has a target to reach. So it's a competition. And that way you know who's behind. So there's something about opening up the Step Up app and then seeing Martha from reception, who's 100 kilos heavier than you. She's past you with 5,000 steps, and you're this skinny fat and with a sad life, and all you do is sit at your desk and reply, please find attached, or auto-generate reply emails. There's something about that motivates you and tells you, okay, I need to get my steps, right? Even if it's a bunch of friends, right? You get a bunch of you together, you all join the app, and you're like, all right, listen, let's try and get 10,000 steps a day. You can check what everyone's doing. Kim's on 6,000, Vish is on fucking 1,000, all right? Fahad went into the room but has done 10,000 in 1 hour, right? So it helps everyone get motivated because you need to catch up. You can't be last. Imagine all your friends know you're last. So check up the Step Up app. Kim, what do you think of that one?
I think that is against our competition.
Sure.
Especially people who are competitive like me. I would like to win.
Exactly. If you're competitive, it sort of puts that fire under your ass because you want to be ahead of the next guy. We're still on the medium of fitness. The next one is sleep. Do you struggle with sleep, Kim?
Yes.
What do you struggle with? Getting to sleep, staying asleep, deep sleep? Do you feel tired after you've slept?
Sleeping, getting to sleep.
Okay. I would suggest for you, maybe it's not a cheat code, but just get some physical work in. Get a sweat in, break, get that energy depleted. It'll help knock you out. This next tip is basically a supplement that I discovered. And everyone's talking about it these days. It's making the world win. It's magnesium and zinc supplements. Let me tell you this. The first time I had... Boys, you listening? This guy's got some vibe, bro. This motherfucker, though, he's got like electricity. He only knows one move. Anyway. Sorry, I got distracted. The first time I had magnesium and zinc. Boy. The dream that I had, right, was the most vivid, sweat-inducing, nightmarish dream I could have had, possibly. Right? It was so vivid in detail, I felt like I was actually there. And that's what magnesium and zinc does, is it basically improves the quality of your sleep, the REM cycle, so you're in a much deeper state of sleep. The fact that I had a bad dream, that's on my subconscious. I don't know what the fuck it was thinking. But when I woke up, even though I was sweating bricks, is it shitting bricks or sweating bricks? Or is it sweating like a hooker in church? That's an Uncharted reference, by the way, for those of you that get it. But even though I woke up sweating, it was such deep sleep that I felt incredibly well rested. I felt very relaxed. I felt at ease. I mean, and again, just based on the benefits that I'm seeing from magnesium and zinc, this is straight off websites, right? Like ChatGPT, which is AI sourced, so you can guarantee that there's some intellect that goes behind it. But magnesium is important for muscle contraction and relaxation, helping to reduce muscle cramps and tension, right? Energy production. Yes, it plays a key role in converting food into energy, supporting metabolic process. God damn. Nervous system health. Magnesium helps regulate neurotransmitters, which send signals throughout the nervous system. Your neurotransmitters are firing, bro. Boom, 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 boom. Let's shake this shit up. Bone health. Magnesium contributes to bone formation and is crucial for the structure, development of bones. Bones, boner. Stronger bones, stronger boners. Magnesium and zinc. And better sleep quality. That's a fucking cheat code. Can we clap for that? That's what's up. You've heard of this metabolic health, take your blood to find out whether you should eat pork chops or lamb chops or whether you're allergic to fucking dengus and chapos. Taking your blood is important, right? Because you have to understand, especially when you get to your late 20s and 30s, and you're still into the bodybuilding cycle, you want to grow muscle, you want to sort of figure out what's going on internally. You need to do a lot of benchmarking tests, right? To figure out what to supplement with. Now, there's a company called Tibu Health. We're not sponsored or affiliated with them in any way. They do a full blood work panel for you. And it's important to check these markers, especially as a man as you're growing up. You want to make sure everything's in order, right? The more mileage you have on you, the more likely something is to break. And so we just want to make sure everything is optimized perfectly. And if it's not, we use supplements then to correct the things that are not there, right? Whether it's a deficiency in some sort of aspect, you take in magnesium. Like I found out that I have to take berberine to help with my sugar, right? I'm on creatine, I'm on magnesium and zinc. I don't really need some multivitamins, but I need some supplements to help, again, hair loss, your nails, your skin, just simply feeling like a man. There's sometimes, how many times you just wonder you've just woken up from an 8-hour sleep and you still feel like shit, right? Yeah. And maybe your nutrition is, so there's a lot of elements into play, and blood work can really help point that in the right direction. So we link Tibu again. Do tell them we sent you to them. So hopefully in the future they'll consider us for sponsorship, even though we only have like 10 subscribers. But hopefully we make an impact, right? Get your blood work done. So you have to be proactive, guys, when you're taking care of yourself. You have to take the steps in order to ensure you are pivoting your energy systems, your biological systems towards living a better life. So invest in yourself. A lot of these things, a lot of these cheat codes, yes, they are cheat codes, but you have to manually input them yourself. You have to take the effort. It takes time, it takes money, yes, sure. Invest in yourself. It's the best thing you can do. Right. Now moving on from fitness into more general productivity. I'll give you a bit of a story before I give you the cheat code. When I was doing my master's, I was asked by my professor at the time, what would you say is a key difference between a Kenyan citizen and a Swedish citizen? And I thought long and hard about that. Is it the amount they earn, which is obvious? Is it corruption levels? That's a completely different thing. One thing that no one looked at is how much people spend in traffic, how much time people spend in traffic. And it got me to realize that on average, a Kenyan spends anywhere between 2 to 3 hours on traffic, right? Versus a Swedish person would spend between 15 to 20 minutes in traffic. Now, if you take those, let's round it up and say 3 hours a day. If you're spending 3 hours a day in traffic, that's 15 hours a week. That means 30 hours every 2 weeks, which is about a day. So in a month, you're losing 2 full days stuck in traffic. Imagine what you could do if you had all those extra hours. You could learn to play an instrument, right? You can date 2 girls at once. You can learn another language. You can read the books that you love. So that got me to thinking, how do I basically improve my time while I'm stuck in traffic? Because I can't improve the traffic in Kenya. And I love reading books, which is what brings us to the next tip. All right? Reading books. A lot of traditional book readers will shit on me for this next one, but to be honest, I think if you're spending that much time in traffic and you're into books, you need something like Audible, something that gives you a place to listen to audiobooks because it keeps you hooked. Again, the performance in audiobooks is spectacular. It really reels you in. But then you get to absorb all the books that you wouldn't really have time for if you spend that much time in traffic. And so that's the next cheat code is the amount of time we spend in traffic in Kenya, what do you do while you're in traffic? Do you make work calls? If you're being driven around, you can work in a laptop. Not many of us have that luxury. So how do we benefit ourselves during that journey from home to work, from work to your girlfriend's place, from your girlfriend's place to your second girlfriend's place, back to your wife's, all that stuff. You need to find a way to spend your time to improve the quality of your time. And Audible has really transformed that for me. Now, I use Audible because I'm on iPhone and I think it was just easier to use, but there are several apps out there that are free-based audiobooks. If you have an Android phone, you can literally download the audiobooks for any novella, any crime thriller that you're interested in, or self-help book. We'll link all of them over here. So do give that a try. It's maybe an obvious cheat code that a lot of people do, but with the folks that I've spoken to, no one really uses that time. And if you still spend time reading books as well on the weekends and you want to continue doing that, get Audible. It helps you continue that. Now, as we wind things down, Kim, we're winding things down.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Right, boys. How are we doing so far? Are we all okay? Yeah, I think they're all happy. This is now, I learned this from my dad actually. So a lot of weddings that we attended, what ends up happening is there's normally at the start people serving you starters and finger foods. And sometimes the waiter never really comes to you. So here's a tip, right? You can work at a bar. You can work at these type of weddings. I've never tried it at a restaurant, but I'm willing to try it. 2 things, right? First, tip before, not after. At a wedding, when we entered, my dad would basically take some money and place it in one of the servers' pockets. And he would basically stand next to my dad the whole night, bringing him food and drinks, right? And the table would get served before everyone. The couple is waiting for their chakula. These guys are bringing it to Mzee because Mzee has given them something, right? That's at a wedding. At a bar as well, if you tip before, the guy will remember who you are and make sure whenever he sees you, he gets your drinks. And that's worked as well for me, right? Second thing is remembering their names. Nairobi is a small place, man. It pays dividends to remember who's serving you, the names of people when you go into a coffee shop, right? Tip well. Don't be a fucking miser. I hate those people who, leave 50 bob, leave 100 bob. Can people survive on 100 bob? And tip well. Nairobi is a tough place, right? If you have the abilities, show some class. And I guarantee the service you will get is better than anyone else. Man, there's some coffee shops I walk into, and Kim can back me up. But even the owner's coming to greet me. Sets an impression, Even though you're driving a shitbox Vitara Suzuki, but then she's like, maybe this guy's an undercover guy. He's very well known. He's very well reputable. It sets a precedence, Tip well, tip before. Maybe it'll change your perspective. Cheat code. Tip well, remember the name and tip first. But not in every situation because that Kenyan guys are wajanja. Unaweza tip alafu the guy is saying, I'm leaving, I'm going home. May have sorted for the night and then he leaves you abandoned over there. So this is a partial cheat code that works in some levels and not every single level. So be careful where you are. If you're chuti and you're in Gidurai over there tipping, hey, back me up, Kim. So that's an episode of Cheat Codes, guys. I hope you enjoyed this short rant between me and my family of anime characters over here. Hopefully I'll have real people next to me. And that's what we'll do. We'll have weekly sessions. If not, actually, maybe weekly is too much of a commitment. Whenever we have something new, we'll have follow-up episodes with people where we can have a roundtable discussion with different experts on cheat codes that can improve your life, right? Again, it doesn't need to be an app. It could be a tip or a trick. It could even be an app, a book to read, a person to know, a thing to play. It can be anything. And we will consider this Coffee Pump Cheat Code episode 101. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do have any tips for us to include on the podcast, you could DM us on Instagram, my personal page, or the Coffee Pump profile. We'll also leave our email in the description as well. You can send us tips that you'd like to showcase. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little rant from an angry chuti guy. But we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.